Radio, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and everybody in between. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Keep calm. It is What's That Show Called Day, okay? We're here for the second week in a row. I think that is a feat all in itself. You guys were texting me talking about you are not going to come back next week. I know this for sure. I'm here, so psych! um, as you guys can see from the title of the episode, it's going to be another documentary that we're talking about. I really have been in my documentary bag this entire time. Like, y'all, I've been watching, I've been remembering, I've been taking notes, and this is one that I could not forget. Like, it affected me as well, not as deeply as the one we talked about last week, but it affected me just the same. I was just like, whoa, what are we doing? What's happening here? Why is this happening? So it's basically a documentary that explores themes of marriage, of love, of step parenting, the love of a step parent. It explores themes of abuse and, of course, murder, as well as the central idea of family. Now, super riveting stuff. I think you guys are going to enjoy it if you guys are documentary nuts just like myself. Of course, another disclaimer. I forgot to do a disclaimer last time. This is obviously not everybody's cup of tea. If you don't like it, you don't have to say any mean things or like comment like, oh my gosh, why do you always why are you so obsessed with this? I saw a couple like really weird comments the last time. But of course, guys, like, if it's not your flavor, you don't have to watch it. You don't have to contribute at all. But if you do, then please make sure that it is respectful, of course, because again, we're all trying to do something here, something interesting, something fun, something lighthearted. It's a Friday. We're not really trying to, get into a fight. You feel what I'm saying? So yeah, just kind of like have mercy on the girl. You feel what I'm saying? But yeah, so we're going to be talking about a deadly American marriage. So here we go. Murder or self-defense, right? It's scored a 6.6 out of 10 on IMDb and a 75% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. It is a documentary told from both sides. So it's we have perspectives from Molly Martins, as well as perspective from Jason Corbett's children, as well as Molly's father, police tapes as well, and so on and so forth. So this documentary explores the killing of Jason Corbett during a dispute with his wife and her father. Okay. So yeah, when it starts off, it's really, 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 really good. So Jason Corbett was an Irishman who was killed at his home in North Carolina in 2015. Investigations later revealed that his death was the result of a physical assault by his wife and his father-in-law. So of course he was murdered on the 2nd of August in 2015. Location is Walberg, North Carolina. Cause of death is assault. Only James Corbett is the one who died. He was aged 39 at the time. Molly Martins Corbett is his wife, who was convicted, as well as Thomas Martins, who is Molly's father and Jason's father-in-law. The charges that were given to Molly and her father were voluntary manslaughter reduced from second-degree murder, and the sentence is 4 years of imprisonment reduced from 20 to 25 years. The circumstances of Jason Corbett's death were the subject of widespread media coverage in Ireland. His wife and father-in-law were found guilty of second-degree murder in 2017. So that's 2 years after his death. However, their convictions were later reversed by the North Carolina Court of Appeals after accepting a plea bargain to reduced charges. They were both released from prison in 2024. So background. Jason Corbett originally lived in Limerick, in Ireland, with his first wife, Margaret, or Mags, Fitzpatrick, and their 2 children, Jack and Sarah. In November of 2006, a few months later, after their daughter was born, Mags died unexpectedly after suffering a asthma attack. Mags' sister Catherine, who was present at the time in their house on the night she fell ill, witnessed Mags urgently using her prescribed inhaler, and thereafter helped Jason to carry her to his car before he rushed off to seek medical attention at the University Hospital in Limerick. In April of 2008, Corbett hired a 24-year-old Knoxville, Tennessee native, Molly Martins, to work as an au pair for the family. So in case y'all didn't get that, right? Also, I apologize for the background noise. This mic kind of catches everything. I am trying to get another one though. But yeah, so basically, James Corbett is living in Ireland and Limerick. He has a beautiful wife, Mags Fitzpatrick, and they have two beautiful children, Jack, who's the oldest, and Sarah, who is his little sister. And then in 2006, unfortunately, a few months after their daughter was born, so the baby girl was very, very tiny, Mags had an asthma attack, and then she unfortunately lost her life on the way to the hospital. Mags's family was there. Her father, her mother, her friends, her sister, they were all there at the house. They kind of witnessed this happening, and they were like, listen, we understand, it's okay, it's not your fault, yada yada yada, all of that, right? Not yada yada yada, but like, you get what I mean, right? So yeah, a few years later, I believe it's 2 years later, 2006, 2008, it's kind of getting too much for Jason. He's like, I really just can't do this without Mags. Like, every single day I'm reminded that I don't have a wife, and I have to look after two young children on my own. So obviously he goes and he hires a 24-year-old au pair from Knoxville, Tennessee, which is on the other side of the world in America. And her name is Molly Martins, and she starts to work as an au pair for the family. After the family moved to Lexington, North Carolina in April of 2011, Jason and Martins got married. So I guess he decided at some point, he was like, look, I really don't want to be here anymore. All of it reminds me of my wife. I don't really like the environment that's here. Let's try and see if we can do something in America. So all four of them decide, you know what, we're gonna take a little bit of a road trip, and they go to America. They buy a house. It's all great. At this point, obviously, Jason and Molly start dating. It's a really fast and like furious love affair, and by 2011, which is again 2 years later, they get married. They moved into a house at Panther Creek Court in Walburg, North Carolina. So for those of you who are, I guess, my African listeners, that is probably what you would either call a complex or very close to being an estate, right? So they moved into a house. I'm assuming, I didn't really get into it in the documentary, but I think it was in a gated community because they had a lot of neighbors who had very similar looking houses. There were modifications done here and there, but it was very similar looking houses. And they say Panther Creek Court, so I think this is probably either like a crescent, a boulevard, a complex, or an estate, right? So yeah, Jason paid $390 for the house, which was bought with the proceeds from the sale of his home in Limerick, combined with his life savings. So he really provided for his family. He thereafter gave Molly $80,000 to buy furnishings for it, as well as buy her new BMW SUV. So he was all around, from the outside at least, a really good guy. Like, he bought his family a house. He gave his wife money. He said, babe, I bought the house, make it into a home, go and buy whatever you need to buy, get the little furnishings, go crazy. And then obviously, for you to be able to do this, you need a car. So I'm going to get you a little bit of a BMW, right? Which is, even back then, it was like still one of the it cars. This beef with BMW and Mercedes, it did not start recently. Like, it's always been like a really, really great car. So from the outside, everyone was like, oh my God, Molly has this amazing man who's willing to do 1, 2, and 3 for her, and so on and so forth. Jason has also previously given his father-in-law Tom Martin's 49,000 US dollars as a contribution toward his wedding ceremony. So I'm guessing in America the usual I don't know if it's in America or like the West in general. You guys can help me out in the comments, but it's a tradition that the bride's family is the one that pays for the wedding, because the husband and the husband's family will have to subsequently like deal with everything else in the future, because she's one of them now. So I think this is kind of like a gift to the family to say like, hey, we understand what you guys are getting yourselves into. This is obviously, hopefully, a lifetime situation, and we really want you guys to stay together. So we will do it in good faith and pay for the wedding. So he basically gave his father-in-law $50,000 to say, hey, I don't want you guys to spend too much on the wedding. This is my second rodeo. Like, I know what I'm getting myself into. I understand your daughter has done so much for me already. She's taking care of my kids. She's become their mother. Like, I got this. So he basically gave them $50,000 of his own money from his life savings into paying for the wedding. So although Martins had allegedly wanted to formally adopt the Corbett children so that they could acquire American citizenship, Corbett instead applied for green cards while retaining his family's Irish passports. So I think this is one of the things that really upset Molly. Obviously, I'm kind of getting out of breath. What's happening? Am I talking too fast? Maybe I should slow down. She basically was like, straight out the gate, let me adopt them. You become my husband. These are my kids, or these are our kids. Let's all get American citizenship. And he was like, no, I'm good. Like I got them. They're my kids. Obviously, we'll have green cards. And then they were accepted. And then, you and I can get married and like, it's a whole thing, whatever. But like, I want my kids to understand their Irish heritage, because again, they were still so young when they moved from Ireland. So they wouldn't have even known that they were Irish if Molly had even adopted them. And of course, the baby girl was really, really young. So she didn't even remember her mother at all. So it's like, I think he probably thought about all of that, and he said, listen, I appreciate you, I love you, obviously, but I think that that's not a good idea. I would like to teach my children first about their Irish heritage, about their mother, about their life back in Ireland, before we kind of jump into this whole life in America type thing. And I think she kind of bought it for a little bit, but it really did start to become an issue in their marriage. At least that's what I got from the documentary, right? Corbett had also apparently planned to one day return to Ireland and open a pizza restaurant or pizzeria at Spanish Point in County Clare. So his plans never had anything to do with permanently staying in America. I guess in his heart of hearts, he really just moved there to appease his wife and to give his children, I guess, a different lifestyle from always being like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. What happened to your mother was insane, and so on and so forth. They kind of just wanted a fresh start, and he was like, you know what, let's go to America. But his plan was always to go back home, open a pizzeria, maybe with his kids, maybe with his wife. We'll never know, unfortunately, because his life was cut short. Corbert's older brother John later said the issue around Martins adopting the children had caused friction in their relationship in the running up to his death. John Corbett also stated that Jason had specifically processed the children's legal residence status via his job rather than through the Martins family, due to the concerns that they would not be repatriated to Ireland in the event of his unexpected death. So in some ways, I think he could see that, unfortunately, the woman that I fell in love with and married, she a little bit, she kind of crazy, So he made plans for his children. I remember he said he gave his sister, I can't remember if it's his sister and his brother and his brother and her, sorry, his sister and brother-in-law, or his brother and sister-in-law, custody of the children. I think it's his, oh, okay, it's definitely his sister and his brother-in-law. So he gave his sister and his brother-in-law custody of the kids before his death. In his will, he basically said, like, the person who's going to get my children is my sister and my brother-in-law, because I believe that they're the ones who are going to take care of the family the best, which was kind of weird because he remarried, and it's kind of like, okay, so you're stopping me from adopting the children so that we can all have one surname, but then you're also putting it in your will that I don't get the kids, that your family gets the kids. So what is it exactly that we got married for? I think in general, it was all just a weird situation. Honestly, I don't understand personally how you can get married to somebody and not trust them enough with your kids. Seeing as we're all underneath the same house, and you're saying, like, if I die unexpectedly, Molly definitely did it, and she is not allowed under any circumstances to have my children. Like, whoa, wait a minute, Jason. Why did you marry me in the first place? I think that was probably what was going through Molly's head, which is, of course, is valid. I just don't think that the way that she handled it was the right way. Okay, court records later revealed that Martins had, in the summer of 2013, sought legal advice on her custody rights regarding the children in the event of a divorce, and had also spoken with a lawyer in late 2014 about her rights to the children. So I think, obviously, a relationship that starts off kind of rocky definitely ends kind of rocky. You have her coming in as an au pair to the children, and she's employed to take care of the kids, and then her and Jason start this, I'm not gonna say affair, but I'm gonna just call it, like, they start this, like, relationship, yeah, because he was single, she was single, so they start a relationship, and it turns into a beautiful thing that's only 2 years after, wait, I think they start a relationship 2 years after his wife dies, and then she becomes basically a foster mom to the children. Like, they know her as mom, they call her mom, it's a whole thing, they feel comfortable around her, whatever. And then 2 years after that, which is 4 years after his wife died, he decides, I'm gonna move to America and we're gonna get married. And then 4 years after that, which is gonna be 8 years after his wife dies, he dies. It's all very fast, very suspicious, very like 8 years is a long time, but it's also a very short time, especially to have a marriage, or to have a relationship, a marriage, and of course to die in that whole thing. It's a very, very short time. So it was very suspicious from the, like, very beginning. And the fact that she was inquiring about, like, taking his children away from him is kind of crazy, like, yeah, these kids were his. Anytime anybody gets into a relationship with somebody, I think you need to understand that these are his children. Like, you are only there as support to him. These are not your kids together. I think the role of step parent, it often gets, like, mixed up most of the time, because it's like, now you want to act like mom or dad, and it's like, no, they do have their own father, they do have their own mother. She's just not around right now, or she's not around because she died, or she's not around because she's whatever circumstances it is that you have now become a step parent. I don't think it is right to try and take over the role of parent, because then that makes the children confused about their heritage and about where they come from, and I don't think that that's good at all. I do kind of find it a little bit confusing that James didn't trust her from the get-go to do this, but then again, it's also a little bit suspicious that literally from the very beginning of the relationship, she just wanted these kids. So I think in his mind, it was kind of like a red flag to be like, wait a minute, we're dating, like, what do you mean you want to adopt my kids? Like, what? But then again, Jason, why did you marry her if you were suspicious? Why did you think, it's fine, everything is fine, we can go ahead with the marriage? Why did you do it? It's all very interesting. Okay, where was I? Oh, right. Multiple witnesses would confirm later that Jason and Molly had tried to start a family of their own, with Jason even spending $25,000 on fertility treatments for Molly without success. Martins would later allege to her neighbor, Billie June, that she had suffered 6 miscarriages in the 7 years she and Jason had been trying for a baby. Which, I mean, nobody can really say if it's true or untrue. It's just that Molly has had a track record of doing things that are kind of a little bit weird. So people kind of viewed her as a bit of a psycho. They didn't really believe her when she said certain things. I mean, I don't know if it's going to say it here, but I remember one detail that kind of struck out at me was because that was kind of mentioned in passing. It wasn't really like taken into consideration, but she would basically tell people that like Sarah, who is the youngest, the little girl, was hers, and that she gave birth to Sarah. And it's like, at the time that Sarah was born, he was married to Mags. And of course she is like Sarah's mom, Mags, of course, not Molly. And it was very confusing. Like, it's like, why would you lie about that? Like, it's gonna come out, obviously. Like, Jack's gonna be like, I miss my mom, and it's like, oh, Molly's like right there, and it's like, no, I'm not talking about Molly, I'm talking about my mom, my dad's first wife. And it's like, wait, what? Like, I thought you were Molly's kids. Like, there's no need to lie like that. Why would she need to lie like that? So I think a lot of people kind of suspicious about that, especially after Jason's death, to be like, wait, didn't you tell us that Sarah was hers? Like, what do you mean this man was married before and his wife died unexpectedly? Like, wait, what? So it was all very suspicious. Yeah, I would say very, very suspicious. But yeah, according to her, she believes in her heart of hearts that she suffered 6 miscarriages in the 7 years that her and Jason had been trying for a baby, which is the 7 years that they had essentially been married, unfortunately. And yeah, Jason was really spending a lot of money on his family, like 80,000, 400,000 for a house, 80,000 for furnishings, however much he spent for the car, 45,000 for the marriage, and now 25,000 for fertility treatments. Like, sir, where'd you get all this money? Oh my goodness. And he wanted to buy a pizzeria. Whew, this man. Okay, although Corbert's family had initially approved of Martins becoming romantically involved with Jason, they became increasingly concerned about the Martins' deceitful and erratic behavior during their relationship. Corbert's sister, Tracy, later said that Martins had a long history of lying, describing her as a fantastical who claimed to have been an Olympic swimmer, a qualified Montessori teacher, and have previously fostered a young boy. Lynch also said that Martins had informed her that she was bipolar and had allegedly experienced several miscarriages before she met Jason, and accused Martins of self-harming and drinking margaritas throughout the day before driving children to the appointments. So essentially, what this is saying, I know I read that terribly, but I think if I just kind of break it down a little bit, it'll be a little bit better to understand. Basically, what they're saying is that they met Molly. Jason told them about Molly, was like, yo, I have this girl, I really like her, I think she might be the one. After Mags, he was probably in the dumps, and he was just like, I need to get out of this. And he met the au pair to his kids. She was pretty, she was fine, like, she was young. She loved his kids, she loved him as well, and they started a relationship. And I think he told his family about her, described her in a way that was obviously favorable, and they really didn't have any any objections to the union. I think at some point they also met her a couple times, and she was like a vibe to be around. It was like, oh my gosh, she's great. So I don't think anybody had any misgivings when they eventually went to get married in America. It was a beautiful wedding. It was really, really beautiful. Everybody met the family, everybody met like everybody, and it was really, really, really beautiful, really great. I think only after they got married, certain things just started like becoming a little bit weird. Obviously, Tracy, who was supposed to have custody of the kids, after he died, said, listen, she told me that she was bipolar. She said that she, had multiple miscarriages, which obviously is never a good thing, but it's like, how do you have this whilst also drinking and doing this and whatever? And I think it sort of like makes sense to believe that she had multiple miscarriages, because why would you become like an au pair and like love children to the extent of wanting to adopt them for yourself if you knew beyond your heart of hearts that there was a chance for you to have a family of your own and stuff like that? Like, why would you be so obsessed with taking care of someone else's kids if you could have kids of your own? So I think it made a lot of sense to say like she definitely wanted a family, and she for whatever reason could not have her own family, both during and before the marriage. So I think it probably broke her to a point of like just thinking that this was right, or that she was doing the right thing, or that she was being what's the word, proactive in becoming a mother. Like this was probably, to her, this was probably the one-stop shop to being the mom that she's always wanted to be. Like Sarah was really young when they met, and Sarah grew up knowing only Molly as mom, and then Jack was kind of a little bit different because he had his own mom and he had his own memories of his mother. So I think she kind of just left him alone, and she was focused on Sarah, and I think she really wanted to adopt them both because she wanted Sarah to grow up with the surname and thinking, oh my god, this is really my mom, So I think she was a little bit psycho, but I think it was a psychosis, an episode of psychosis that kind of was there or built from a level of trauma that she experienced from the miscarriages and feeling hopeless and kind of seeing the Corbett children as an opportunity to become a mom. Unfortunately leading to Jason's death, right? I'm not like condoning what she did. I'm just kind of seeing it from a perspective of her to be like, okay, if I'm in a relationship with a guy who has kids and I say to him, listen, I think we should adopt, I think we should get married and I should adopt the kids in order for them to be my kids, right? So that if anything was to ever happen to you, these kids would still have a stable home, they would be okay, like they wouldn't, their lives wouldn't change apart from not having you in their life anymore. Like it wouldn't change. They would still have me, they'd still have a family unit, like my family's there, your family's there, Mags's family's there, like they would still know their mom, whatever. And he was kind of stonewalling me at every turn. I think I'd also be a little bit upset about that as well. I don't know if I'd get married to him, because it's like, why do you not trust me with your kids? But that's a whole different story, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, and then obviously I've been trying to have kids of my own. I can't. For whatever reason, I always conceive and then I lose the baby. It's like I can't do anything right. So let me try and take care of babies that are already here, right? Which is why I think she had a really great attachment to Sarah, because Sarah was a baby and she wanted to feel needed. She wanted to feel wanted. She wanted to be a mother. And Jason was stopping her from being a mother because he was stonewalling her at every turn, which obviously is, I guess, a father's intuition. But like, my thing is, the question that I asked myself throughout this documentary was like, why did he marry her? Like why? You could have left her, like he could have stayed in England. He could have left the kids Ireland. He could have stayed in Ireland. He could have left the kids in Ireland. He could have said, you know what, let's go. Let's all go to America, and then he could have sent them back to Ireland to stay with his sister. Like, he could have done a whole lot of other things that could have stopped him from doing this. I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking it, but I really think that this whole thing could have been avoided. From his death to like the kids being confused to all, like everything that happened in the documentary, I really think it all could have been avoided if he just made certain decisions a little bit more slower, thought about them a little more, so on and so forth. But I guess that's just my opinion. But yeah, I don't know. It's really sad when things like this happen. But there we go. So, Lynch also alleged that she discovered just before their wedding that Martins had told her friends that she had been pals with Jason's first wife, Mags, before she died from cancer. In fact, the two had not interacted before Mags died, and Mags did not die of cancer, but as a result of an asthmatic attack. So basically, now Miss Molly is turning into a pathological liar. Okay, remember she said, I have bipolar, I had miscarriages, I had this, I had that, this is to Jason's part of the family. And then to her own friend, she's like, girl, I've been knowing this man. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is my man. Like, he had a wife and whatever, but like, we knew each other and stuff like that. We actually were friends. Like, I was friends with the both of them. Like, it was a vibe, and then obviously she died from cancer. Ooh, sorry. Obviously she died from cancer, and like that was like really sad, but like me and Bay kind of just got it on, and it was like really good. It was written in the stars. But it's like, wait, you didn't know Mags. In fact, you weren't even in Limerick at the time when Mags and Jason were married. And also, Mags didn't die from cancer, baby. She had an unexpected asthma attack. So what exactly is it that you're talking about, Miss Ma'am? Right? And let's not forget that a couple, when they were now in America, she was running around telling neighbors, like, Sarah is my baby. I gave birth to her. That's why she looked like me. Which she did, which was kind of weird. But that was not her baby. So why lie? Especially knowing that your lies are going to come out. Like, why would you lie, Molly? It doesn't really make any sense. Lynch, again, Tracy is working overtime in discovering stuff. Oh my days. Okay. Lynch later discovered that Martins had been released from a secure psychiatric unit. Oh wow. Unit at the Emory University Hospital in Georgia a few weeks before she traveled to meet Jason in 2008, and that she did not discuss her mental health history until a few weeks before they were married. Wow. Wait. Wait a minute. How did she do this, bro? Like, how does somebody get released from a mental hospital and then immediately after that she's just like, I'm gonna fly to Limerick? Like, what are you doing? Like, what? This is premeditated. Damn, she planned on this. Oh my days. Okay, yeah, she's definitely not okay. Yeah, because she was in Georgia, and then she was like, let me go see this nigga in Limerick. Like, let me go see what's happening here. And then she probably, oh, Molly, man. But Jason, man. And how is it that Tracy only found this out after Jason's death? Like, wouldn't this information have been better found, like, before? Like, I know us women, we're like really, really great detectives. Like, if your friend comes at you and says, yo, I have a man, let's do a background check, like, she is doing a very thorough background check. Like, she is the FBI with it. She'll find things that you never even knew existed. Like, if he has an arrest warrant somewhere, she's gonna find it. If he has a wife, a family, she'll find it. So, like, how is it that Tracy didn't get the tingles before? Like, yo, this is, oh my goodness, this is crazy. Martins also allegedly lied to her newborn neighbors in Panther Creek court, stating that Sarah was her biological daughter, even going as far as to give a lengthy description during a local Bible study meeting of how difficult her labor and conception had been. Lynch also claimed that the Martins had secretly told the two children that Jason had killed their mother, an accusation that was later corroborated by Sarah Corbett. Oh, okay, I see. So basically what happened was she went around telling people, like, hey, Jason is kind of a psycho. He murdered his worst wife. Like, he strangled her, and that's how she died of an alleged asthma attack, right? And, like, I married him because I love him and I want to get the kids away from that because I think, like, he's really crazy. Which I think that's how she managed to get into these whole, like, family lawyer offices and kind of, like, have people give her the time of day. She kind of sold the story that he was a very abusive monster, that he murdered his first wife, that he did this, that he did that, even going as far as to tell her parents and her family. corroborated the fact to say like, hey, I had a conversation with Max's father, and he said like, I really do believe, allegedly, of course, this is all alleged, right? Because I don't think it's true, but we don't know, right? She said, oh no, sorry, Thomas said that he spoke to Max's father, and that Max's father had alleged that it is his strong belief that this man, Jason, strangled his daughter, which triggered the asthma attack, and then just kind of like killed her, and was slow in reaction time, and so on and so forth. And it's like those things are kind of debunked, because they just said in the beginning of the documentary that Max's sister was there at the time, and her mom was somewhere in the house as well. So it's like, how does this happen? They were all together when she had the attack. Like, in fact, I don't think Jason was there, honestly. So how is it that this can happen? And they said like, no, he strangled her before, and then her area is already blocked, so that kind of triggered the asthma attack to happen after he was not at home, yada 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 yada, which is entirely plausible. I mean, it does happen sometimes, which is why I guess people believed it. But it's like, why would he kill his first wife, you know? Because she said that she killed him in self-defense, back to obviously like why Jason died. The story is that she killed him in self-defense. Like, he was doing rah-rah, he was like grabbing her neck, he was fighting, he was pushing, punching, shoving, scratching, all of that. And she wait, what did she do? I think she grabbed a brick from the dresser and she hit him over the head with it, and then she yelled for her father, who was downstairs, and Dad grabs a baseball bat and comes upstairs and kind of like starts hitting him repeatedly with the baseball bat. But he was already down with the brick, so essentially they knew what they were doing. Because usually like self-defense is you disarm somebody and then like walk away. They knew what they were doing, because he was already down and they repeatedly hit him. So it was kind of murder at that point, and I think they knew that what they were doing was murder. They really just didn't care. Right. Other examples cited in an affidavit submitted by Lynch regarding Martin's alleged erratic behavior were her holding the face of their 7-year-old Jack under a running kitchen faucet as punishment for splashing her with water, and an incident where Jack was punished for not calling her mom. So I think she was very obsessed with the whole idea of her being the children's mother, and anything other than that was punishable by extreme measures. I think even Jack actually said something about her coaching them on what to say in the interview room to kind of corroborate her story of it being self-defense, and threatening them, or at least him, with like a really, really bad punishment if he didn't say the same thing that Sarah said, or that she had initially told him to say, which is scary. These kids just lost their father. Like, they don't need this. The Corbett family friend Lynn, alleged that Molly had become angry for several days when Jack reminded her that she was not his mother. Martins had also avoided telling her neighbors that Jack and Sarah were not her children, and became enraged when Jack informed them of the truth. Martins allegedly became highly agitated and screamed at several guests during their wedding banquet after one of the bridesmaids brought food from McDonald's for a young boy who was allergic to egg whites and thus could not eat the main meal. Another family friend asserted that a couple of days before he was killed, Corbett left a social function early after his wife started fat-shaming him in front of several family and friends, adding that he was self-conscious about his weight. Corbert's sister later identified this incident as the last straw that made Jason's mind up to return to Ireland without Martins. So I think essentially what they're saying is that he had already been like, you know what, it's charged, it's chai, I'm just gonna go back to Ireland with my kids. You can stay here, you can keep the house, you can keep the money, I don't want it. You can keep the BMW, I don't want it. I'm just going back You can keep everything. You can use it for your new family. I don't care. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm done. And that's probably what they had been arguing about in the morning of his death. He was probably like telling her, like, listen, this is done. You know, I'm going to go back. We can file for divorce. You can send the papers, and then I'll send them back, and we'll be done with each other. And I think this is all alleged, by the way. I don't want to, this is speculation. It's just my own theory. It's not what actually happened. I just want to say that as well. I think she probably flew into a rage of panic as well, to be like, but Sarah's my daughter, and Jack is his sister. Like, why are you taking away my kids? You know, so she kind of flew into a mother's rage. And I think that's when she grabbed the brick after he told her, like, hey, I'm leaving. She probably grabbed the brick and hit him over the head with after that. And then when Dad came up, she probably told him, like, he's leaving. And then Dad kind of did what he did. And then afterwards, she told him the truth. And he was like, okay. Because he was apparently an FBI agent before. He was a retired FBI agent, actually. And he's very trained in, like, the art of interviews and evasion and, like, answering questions, asking questions. He actually took over the interrogation room, I believe, because he kept deflecting at the officers back at them to say, like, hey, have you guys done this? Have you guys done that? Like, he was very calm. He was like, he didn't really care what was happening. He was just like, listen, I didn't do this. My daughter didn't do this. It was self-defense. I don't know what you niggas are thinking, but, like, I'm good. You know, we're good. Like, just what do you guys have? And I think the officers were kind of like, they also put their guard down a little bit, because it's like, this is an old man who's been accused of killing his son-in-law, and it's like, he was doing it in self-defense. You know, unfortunately, gender-based violence against women happens all the time, obviously against men as well, but women, it's a little bit more common, unfortunately, again. So yeah, they probably thought this was a one and done, run of the mill, and then obviously they started getting more information that kind of made them think, like, hey, this is not right. You know, why is this happening? Why do we feel like this? What happened here? Why was this stone left unturned? What's happening? So all in all, yeah, I think the courts then ruled against Molly having the kids, because she did have them for a little bit, and then the Lynch, Jason's sister, and her husband fought, like, really, really hard to take the kids away. And then obviously when Molly was then convicted of second-degree murder, she was then, the kids were then taken back to Ireland, and they had to stay with the Lynch family, which of course it was a bit difficult for them to do that, because it's like, I don't know you niggas. Like, I know Molly. Where's Molly? And of course, Sarah had it the hardest. I think Jack always knew that this was not his family. And Molly was always kind of indifferent in terms of taking care of Jack. Like, she only really focused on Sarah, because Sarah is the one who fed her delusions of her being Sarah's mom. So she kind of only focused on Sarah, and it was like Sarah. So Sarah kind of had a difficult, or more difficult, time adjusting to the world in Limerick than Jack did, because he had already lived there. He knew it. He was familiar with these people. Like, he understood them. And I think Sarah kind of trusted Jack because they'd been through the trauma together. So she also started acclimatizing properly, and so on and so forth. And then Molly was trying to, like, get to them in prison. Like, she was trying to call them all the time and talk to them and whatever. And I think the brainwashing kind of stopped after Molly went to prison and there was no contact, that the kids kind of told the truth and said, hey, there was no argument. My dad never hit my mom. Like, nothing like that ever happened. My dad was not abusive at all. Like, the truth started coming out. And then they got second degree. And then, of course, a little bit later, that conviction was overturned to 4 years, which is why they then got out in 2024, which was last year. And then I think the documentary was made, if it wasn't released this year, it was released last year. So yeah, that is A Deadly American Marriage, ladies and gentlemen. Obviously, I haven't said everything because I do want you guys to watch it. I kind of spoiled a lot of the things because I just really wanted to give you guys like a breakdown of what it is exactly that you will be watching. And I don't want to just say like, go and watch this and like go and enjoy and all of that without telling you what exactly you're getting yourselves into. It's not really long. It's kind of like, how long is it actually? I think it's 122 if I'm not mistaken. Let's see. Oh, what does it say? What does it say here? Daily American Marriage. Okay, there we go. Let's check out the IMDb page. Ba-da. Do. Okay, 1 hour and 42 minutes. So that's 1 hour and 42 minutes of your life that you are going to like really think about for a couple months afterwards. I still think about this case. You know, I talked about it with a friend of mine the other day, and I'm just like, listen, why did he do it? Like, why did he marry her in the first place? If he didn't trust her, why would he marry her? You know? And she said to me, she was like, listen, African way is different from the Western way. Like, people have fail safes in place that side. Like, if you're a step parent, you don't really have access to the kids like you do if you're in Africa. Because by me, if you have kids and I'm marrying you, they my kids too. Like, if you die, they become my kids. So I don't understand this whole like custody and will and whatever. It's like, wait a minute, whoa, what? Like, crazy. But yeah, that's kind of how that all happened. I do really, really hope that you guys enjoy the documentary. I put a lot of work into making this episode. I know I'm a little bit incoherent, a little bit, like, please bear with me, guys. I'm tired as hell. And, I'm still kind of getting back into the whole podcasting space. A lot of things have been happening this week, a lot of nonsense. A lot of just like, I just haven't been feeling too great. I've been feeling really down, but I guess I could talk about that some other time. But yeah, guys, I do hope that you enjoy this particular episode. Oh, whoopsie. That you enjoy the documentary, that you enjoyed the episode, and so on and so forth. I will see you guys next week, Friday. Love you so, so, so much. Mwah. Until next time, bye, babies.